Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Well, I'm here with Ray.
Hi guys.
It's this sort of day after an absolutely incredible game. That's what my first, point is. Last night was absolutely amazing. It was a privilege to be there, and the atmosphere, the fans were superb. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the goals. We're going to talk about the lineups. Player ratings. We'll give a player ratings today. We're going to give a player ratings, Ray. Sorry. And then we'll discuss a little bit about VAR. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up. Ray's got a few points he wants to make, so I'll hand over to Ray. So, right, very quickly, 1 minute, Ray. Sum it up last night. What was it like?
Last night, pretty much had every emotion you could expect in a game of football. It had that initial jubilation, that scoring that early goal, then that shock and massive disappointment that we let two softish goals in the space of 3 or 4 minutes, and then that pride in City fighting back and coming back and getting 2 more goals in the next 10, 11 minutes to go in leading, but also that worry that we were still behind on away goals. And the second half, it was that one-way. To me, it felt pretty much one-way traffic. Spurs were dangerous on the break, but we had control of that game. We got ahead again. That VAR goal, will come back to that handball, which no matter what anybody says, I'll say is handball all day long. I don't care what people say. These are the rules. It's a handball all day long. He got an advantage, which resulted in scoring the goal. And that injury time supposed winner. I mean, I didn't cheer too much. My son was. We were watching at home because obviously I'm still in Paris because of family issues. My son was running around the room, jumping, whooping, and he was so happy. And I was cautious because when I saw it first time, I thought Aguero looks offside. Unless there's someone on the other side playing him on, he looks offside. He's too slow coming back. It's a gripe of mine I have with Gabby Jesus. So from that massive high, I'm trying to not use any bad language here, but that massive high to suddenly we're at a peak. We're on top of Mount Everest, and then suddenly we were down in the valley somewhere. We were down on the floor, and it was like cliches, but carpet. The rug had just been pulled under our feet, and we'd collapsed on the floor. And you can see it from some of the players after the game. They were upset, downhearted, heartbroken even. Yeah. That game had everything. But I want to say this. I know my minute's up. The fans were great. And that's something...
We're going to come on to the fans.
Okay.
We'll talk about...
We won the game, so, let's get too disheartened. It Absolutely. Was a magnificent game of football.
It was. I mean, certainly even for a City fan and a Tottenham fan, or if you're a neutral watching that, I mean, it's one of the greatest games of football I've ever been to live. It was just incredible. But let's just very quickly, just for anybody who didn't see the game last night, the lineup was Ederson in net. He played Walker at right back. Company retained his place with Laporte. Ben Mendy started at left back. We then had Gundogan holding instead of Fernandinho. We weren't sure what was happening, whether was he fully fit, had he had a knock and things like that. Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva played ahead of him. This time, Bernardo Silva played out on the right. Sterling played on the left. And Aguero was our sort of main striker and retained his place. On the subs bench, we had John Stones, Leroy Sané, Fernandinho, Mahrez, Otamendi, Gabby Jesus and Muric. So... very quickly, 30 seconds. What was your initial thought when the lineup came out?
Back five, can't question them. I wanted Company to play. I expected Mendy to play. Gundogan concerned me. I would have honestly. It depends on Fernandinho. People were having a go at Pep, but we don't know.
No, we don't know.
He's had a niggle. If he's not 100%, he can't play. Simple as that.
Well, you can imagine him starting the game last night.
Yeah.
20 minutes in, he pulls up. He's off and misses the next three games. What would everyone be saying? Why is Pep risked him?
Yeah.
We don't know. So for people to come out and Slate Petford, Gundogan. We don't know the background to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if Fernandinho was completely 100% fit, I would say that's a surprise.
Yeah. So that was my assumption, that he's not 100% fit. Honestly, I would have liked Leroy Sané to start. Having said that, in the 15 minutes he was on the pitch, he didn't do much, but I would have liked him to start because I think he'd have caused Trippier immense problems. I'd have liked Raheem to start on the right, and I would have liked Bernardo Silva to pair up with KDB in the middle. And this is no slight on David Silva. I just think we needed Bernardo's. I think he's got more energy.
Yeah. He's played a lot of games, David. So, and he was due for a rest 3-4 games ago.
Exactly.
But I mean, that was a team, and I looked at it, and that was my concerns. First off, when the team was announced, I was thinking, oh God, I really thought Fernandinho would have been there in the hole. Yeah. But there must potentially be something wrong that caused it. Otherwise, I think he would definitely have started last night.
Yeah.
So the game. Before the game, just again briefly, we'll cover this very quickly. The anthem was played. Now, I believe on social media, I read last night some fans saying City booing the UEFA Champions League anthem. Where I was, everyone was just singing City, City, City. I couldn't hear any booing.
There was some booing.
Was he? I mean, I don't know,
but not as certainly not like normal. There was some booing, but we could hear when the videos you sent through, the fans were in very good voice, singing and chanting for City. Yeah. I think towards the end of the music, the fans had died down a little bit, and you might have heard a bit more booing. You could hear it in the background, but
I haven't seen the game back, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it was a big change. It was a big change to normal. There wasn't that cacophony of boos. It was a mix. So I kind of feel now I would rather everybody did the same thing. So maybe let the booing go.
Yeah, sing about us.
Always sing about us. I
don't know whether that's going to happen after last night now for next season, but that's by the by. But anyway, into the game. We said it will, first 15 minutes, if we could get a goal, it would be really important. 4 minutes in, a wonderful ball by Kevin De Bruyne. Raz gets it out. Everyone's up out the seat. We're all stood up anyway, but everybody gets out the seats. And he cuts in and he hits an absolute worldie into the bottom corner. What were your thoughts on the goal?
Oh, fantastic, mate. You've pretty much summed it up. It was a belting goal. I'm sure you'd have been behind that at the time. It'd have it'd have been a belting goal.
Yeah.
It was superb. You look at the look on his face. It was a bit of surprise and bewilderment and wonderment, and but he was so happy as well. It was almost ecstatic.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic finish. Unbelievable.
It was a brilliant start. I mean, I only watched because I didn't get early hours of the morning by the time I got home and got to bed. But about a couple of hours ago, I watched the goals back online, and Alderweireld seemed to duck down, and the ball sort of went into the space that he really should have just been putting his head in that. But you could see Sterling actually was trying to use Alderweireld to get it into that corner. Yeah. It was a brilliant goal, absolutely brilliant finish. 1-0 up, we couldn't have asked for a better start after 4 minutes. 2-3 minutes later, Laporte sort of gives away a sloppy, the ball comes in, it sort of bounces. I don't know whether he tried to play it, but he stuck a leg out. The ball sort of ricochets to Son. Nobody's marking Son.
Yeah.
And he hits it first time. What were your thoughts on, the actual build-up to the goal and Ederson's contribution to the goal?
Is that the one where he put his foot out and it went under?
He died down to the right.
He was going the wrong way. I mean, it's one of our Achilles heel, really, is some sloppy play when opposition's attacking us. And you can see some players, and I think on the next goal, they don't bust a gut to get back. They don't bust a gut. thinking, and one I looked at was Ben Mendy. This was the other goal, but it's a general thing. I can only go on what I used to do when I used to play. Even if someone's 20 yards away, you still give it everything to get back, just in case. You know what would happen if the goalie made a save and no one bothered to run back and the guy that's tapping, or if it hit the post and came back? You've got to still give everything. And I don't think we thought of the situation as being serious enough for people to bust a gut.
But that brings me on to my next point about that goal in particular. Is, do you think, and I'm just throwing this out there, do you think because we generally are so comfortable in games that, you know, opposition teams, let's say the big teams or the teams in Europe, etc., that have very, very, very good players that can take opportunities, we don't come across it that often. And in the Premier League, you know, if that would have, I mean, to be fair, Son sort of hit it straight at Ederson, but Ederson had already, if Ederson would have stood still, he would have just picked it up in his hands.
Stopped it with his foot.
He's already trying to read the angle that the shot has gone in.
It's got to be some...
And still, probably, if that would have been De Gea, I reckon he would have just blasted that away with his left foot. But it went underneath his foot.
Goalies have to... You have to predict a little bit as a goalkeeper. You've got to, otherwise you've got no chance.
I get that,
but I think it was poor. I think that's the politest way I can look at it. It was poor because he could have just stopped that with his left foot, instead of the dive. It was disappointing because once you've dived, you've given the game away.
Well, you're relying on a leg. If you're 6'3", 6'4", a leg is what, you know, 3 feet, 4 feet away from you. You've got to judge where that ball's going, and he try to get his foot on it, but he was already moving. It
was a soft goal. It was a poor goal. Yeah. And it was a disappointing goal because obviously straight away we knew we needed 3, but it was early enough not to.
God, I mean, we're 7 minutes in.
Yeah.
It's 1-1, and we're going, oh my God, you know, 2 more goals within 2.5 minutes.
Head in the hands time.
The stadium just went silence, apart from the next to us, the Spurs fans going mental. But what a wonderful finish by Son.
You've got to give him credit. I mean, some ungrateful people are having a go at Laporte, and yes, he made a mistake. It happens. Mistakes happen. We'll come to this social media stuff later, but mistakes happen. The ball got out to Son, and
but the mistake was 30 yards out.
Yeah,
wasn't in the box.
Yeah.
So the mistake happened 30 yards out. That's my point with it. Yes, it was a mistake, but it was 30 yards out.
We should have had enough.
Walker was isolated with 2 players.
Yeah, that's wrong. And I think also there was a time either before or after that where Walker was isolated with Son. We'd lost the ball, and it was quickly played out to the left. Walker was
just shot.
Yeah, it was 1-on-1, and we got lucky with it. I think it went straight to Ederson, or Ederson had come out or whatever. We got lucky, and you could see this. It's a problem. We should not be isolated. It shouldn't be 1-on-1, really. Certainly shouldn't be 2-on-1. It's got to come down to poor concentration, poor defending. I understand why it happens because we've got the ball. We're not expecting to lose it. So your thought processes is to go forward and to be ready for the pass.
Yeah.
So you can argue it's a bit harsh. It's not a bit harsh, but what you can't argue with, it was poor defending again. Great finish from Son.
Wonderful.
Spurs' best player on the night, and probably their best player all season.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, I've said it. I said it in the last few videos, and when we've done the previews with, I'd have him at City. I think he's such a wonderful player. Yeah. He's got everything.
He's getting better and better.
Oh, he's superb. Absolutely brilliant. So suddenly we're 2-1 down, and it's like, oh my God, this is just typical City. And within like 1 minute, another wonderful ball by Kevin De Bruyne. Bernardo's on his own on the right wing, goes into the box, strikes it, hits Danny Rose. Yeah. Bit of luck, goes in, 2-2. And 11 minutes in, we're going, what the hell is this? It's 4 goals in 11 minutes.
I mean, you're sending me videos every you know, because you send me videos after the each goal that we score, especially, just to show the crowd reaction and stuff. And that's like my phone's going bing, 2 minutes later, bing, 2 minutes later, bing. You know, it's like it's my son's wondering what's going on. My phone's like just. Am I suddenly become popular that I'm getting bang, bang, bang messages every 2 minutes? And it was just crazy. You know, 11 minutes in, and it's 2-2. So we're back to level levels. You know, we've got to get 2 goals again. And it wasn't that much longer before we scored the goal.
So it's 2-2.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, this game is just absolutely crazy. Yeah. And then on 21 minutes, another absolutely worldy of a pass by Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, not many people in world football can play those passes, but he puts in that pass straight the way across the goal. Who's there? Mr. Reliable. 26 goals, contributions, goals and assists in 20 games. Raheem Sterling, back post, left foot, 3-2.
Yeah, and the fans went bonkers again. You know, we're ahead. You know, we still needed another goal, but we had so much time in which to score that goal. So you know, and at that point, like you say, City were controlling the game very much so. Spurs, they lost Sissoko as well, so they lost an outlet, and they had to bring Llorente on. And
that was a brave move by Pochettino. I thought that was a brave move because he switched things around and he was using him as a target man.
I think you can look at it 2 ways. A difference of opinion, because I think he slowed them down because he put him up in the middle, and he slowed them down because he obviously doesn't have the pace.
But at this point in the game, they're still going through.
Yeah, they're still going through it 3-2. So maybe it works well that he's holding up the ball, giving them a little time to take off a little bit of pressure because we were on top. You know, no doubt about that. Yeah. And then it rolls on to half time. How are the fans at half time?
It was one of those typical City. I mean, I think everyone was in shock because I think everyone was going, what have I just witnessed? Yeah. What have I just witnessed? I saw 5 goals in 22, 23 minutes. We've dominated, but we've conceded two goals. I can't believe we conceded 2 goals. And obviously the first one, people were disappointed with it. And but the sort of thought was, we could score another 3 or 4 here. No, you know, but what is our defending going to be like? So everyone was really positive, going, "Oh, we'll definitely score again." I won't be nervous as well. What?
But they must have been a bit nervous as well because of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think rather nervous. I think people were shocked. I think people were genuinely stunned at what they'd actually witnessed in that first half. It was just such an incredible sort of game of football emotionally. So we get into the second half. City fans were up for it again, very noisy. So were Spurs in the second half. In the second half in particular, their fans really sort of upped their game, and it was a great atmosphere. And then we've got another wonderful long bursting run from Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah. You know, beats a player, little pass to Aguero, and it was almost like a similar sort of shot to the 93-20 moment. Yeah. He just blasted it with everything he had, and it sort of swerved into the near post. And what were your feelings then when it went 4-2?
Well, obviously, it felt great, mate. You know, I'm usually very positive, but still in the back of my mind, because obviously you look at the permutations before the game, and you know, okay, you're going through, but they need one more goal, and then it's, you know, the pressure's back on. And 4-2 wasn't, you know, I was hoping we'd get to 5 and 6. I'll be quite honest. I thought we needed another goal.
I agree. I said at 3-2. I said we need 2 more. We need 2 more. We must get another 2 because we won it. Thinking 59 minutes. We were definitely, the way we were playing, we're definitely going to score another.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I thought we needed another goal because Spurs would get chances. You can't say our defence and our team would not be nervous. We saw that in the first half. There were some nervy moments. And Spurs are a good team. Let's not discredit them. They're a very, very good team who are more than capable of scoring a good goal. So, I felt we needed that fifth and sixth goal to calm my nerves. But at that point, obviously, we were going through. It felt good, but we hadn't closed the door on Spurs.
Yeah.
But we were so dominant, so dominant. In normal circumstances, you couldn't see them scoring.
Well, I mean, if you look, when you say about dominance, some of the match stats, City had 66% possession, compared to 34% of Spurs. That shows you the dominance that we had. And a lot of that wasn't just what we sometimes see with City, where they just play 4 or 5 passes that they don't need to round the back to increase on all that time.
We were moving forward.
We were moving forwards, and we were dominant most of the night. 20 shots on target to their 11. 20 shots, sorry.
Yeah.
8 on target to their 7. 4 corners, 3 fouls, 8 for City, 12 for Spurs. But it felt like we were on. We I wouldn't say cruising, but we were very dominant.
Absolutely.
And thinking it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before it comes. There was the moment when Kevin De Bruyne, again, I mean, the guy is absolutely
immense.
World class.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's right up there in the top 5 players in world football for me. And he looked like he was back to his best last night. At one point, he cut in, he hit the most amazing shot. Now, he's scored goals like that before. Normally, they're right in the bottom corner or they're right in the top corner. It just wasn't quite in the top corner. But Lloris made an absolute worldie.
When I saw that, that's what I said. I thought that's an unbelievable save. He had to dive pretty much full length, and he had to have a strong.
He took his nearest hand to it.
Yeah.
So
I think if he'd gone with his other hand,
he might have got it. Yeah, I think it would have gone past him in an instant. But
I don't think he'd have had the power in his wrist to stop it because it'd have been too far away from his body.
Yeah.
I think would it have been closer, he's got a bit more power in there, and he just managed to bat it away. But it was a fantastic play by Kev. And you say he's in the top 5. If there are 4 more better players than him going in the world football, I don't know who they are, because right now in that little
Messi?
bit, there's one.
I'll go on then. I'll change it. Top 3.
There you go. I like it. So what we're saying, top 3 is Messi, Sterling, and Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
I'll take that, mate.
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Yeah, and I'll put Son in number 4 and.
I put him right on form at the moment. I put him right up there. He's a wonderful player.
He's shown in 2 or 3 games
since
he's back this time that he's top draw. And
you know what? And if Pep's watched him last week, he's watched him last night, and he'll watch him on Saturday. You know what? I bet Pep is thinking he's a seriously good player. Spurs will never sell him, but could we put a cheeky bid in for him? Because he can play in Son. He can play in so many positions. He's a wonderful player. And he works. He works his socks off for the team.
That's what I think is one of his biggest assets. He works his socks off. I mean, he's got goals in him. He's got running. He's got assists. He's got tackling. He'll do everything. The only negative for Son is his goal celebrations. I really don't like that dabbing and all this. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, it is a bit embarrassing.
It's like going back to the 80s and house music and people on drugs in front of your face.
What, me?
So, all right, it's you, mate. You at the hacienda, mate.
I was. That was me.
And Mr. Smith's in Warrington. I bet you went there.
I did.
You go to Ritz's?
And Leeds. I went to all of the places.
You went everywhere.
Trust me, yeah, it was a bit of a Saturday. Anyway, and then moved to the 73rd minute. And initially, the ball went out, had a corner, went back to the other side.
Edison didn't get there and he popped it for the corner.
Yeah, it went to another corner. He tried to sort of dive.
Yeah, he couldn't get it.
Came in.
It looks innocuous.
Obviously, it's right behind where we're up here, but looking at the goal, my first thoughts were, how's that gone in? Because I immediately saw it wasn't off his head. And I'm thinking, Did it go in off? I wasn't sure who. I don't know whether it was Laporte or somebody's hand, or I wasn't sure, but I was thinking straight away, how's that gone in?
That's what you said to me.
Yeah, because I was messaging you back going, what's just happened there? Because I knew immediately, and everyone around us knew it wasn't a header.
Yeah.
What's happened? And then it went VAR, and we're thinking, it's got to be there's got to be a handball in there, or a push or something, because it wasn't a clear header.
Well, I mean, I saw it. The first replay I saw, I wrote to you, immediately wrote handball. It was a handball.
And I'm telling everyone behind me, yeah, it looks like it's handball. And
it's mate, from the angle I saw, it was as clean as day. For me, a handball. People are telling me, oh no, the rules. I mean, I had one guy saying it's a silhouette. So because it's tucked into his body, it may.
Well, looking back on it now, I mean, we've seen the angles. We're going to go. Let's not get hung up in the VAR, because we're going to talk about VAR very quickly afterwards.
It was a soft goal. Edison didn't even move, which some people are surprised that he didn't even stick a hand out. He didn't move. It's like watching in slow motion, a car crash in slow motion, because that's what it was. The time seemed to stand still, and Edison didn't seem to move. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, but I mean,
not anybody on the post either.
What else sort of concerns me, and this is only for I don't want to be too harsh, but on a defensive point of view, is that there was the chance with the ball, and it was a wonderful ball. I don't know whether Eriksson played it for Llorente when he headed it down, and obviously Edison made a pretty routine save. It wasn't anything. The replays I watched back this moment say incredible save. And I was thinking, well, he was just diving in the right way. I mean, it wasn't incredible. But what concerned me was the fact that both of not only the corner but the cross for Llorente's header that Edison saved were right in between Kompany and Laporte. I mean, get a little bit closer. Don't give him. Allow that cross to be put between sort of like 5-6 feet each.
Yeah.
And that concerned me, and we've seen that a number of times this season. And again, I don't want to be harsh on them, but he can't have two clear, one off his arm, but the other one a header, with two players, one in front, one behind him. How does he get a free attack? Sorry about that. That's my fault. I'm just going to cancel it, guys. I'm going to keep going.
Look, mate.
Cancel it.
Look, he's a good striker, Llorente. He's good at the air. And he's good at, even though he hasn't got the pace, he's good at making the space. So you've got to give him some credit. But I will also say, as a defensive unit, okay, even though we don't let a lot of goals in, as a defensive unit, we are not the best. We've got to be open and honest and admit that. Our defense is pretty much set up to attack.
And is that because we rotate so much at the back? Stones, Laporte, Kompany.
You would rotate too much, but I also believe it's because we're set up. We're set up to attack, and we don't always pick defenders on their defensive abilities. We're picking them on their attacking. I mean, that's why we've got Mendy. We've not got Ben Mendy because he's a world-class left back at defending. We've got him because he's good at going the other way. We've not got Kyle Walker because he's a world-class right back at defending. No, it's because of what he can do going the other way. If Kyle Walker didn't have that pace and stamina to leg it up and down the pitch so much, he would not be playing for City. Same with Ben Mendy. So we've got them for their other attributes, and that's why Zinchenko works well at left back, even though he makes mistakes, because his other attributes are helpful to the team. And one of the things that I said when I said this last season when Delph and Zinchenko were playing left back, and I said where it's changed this season is our midfield and our attack was so potent last season and early part of this season that other teams didn't want to attack us. They were so scared of what we could do going forwards that they held back, and that let some of our defenders off the hook because they were under pressure. But you talk about chances and how good quality teams make us pay. Was it West Ham? I think we beat them 3 or 4-0, and they had almost as many chances as City, except they couldn't put them in. They had 7 chances, and I think in the first 6 games we'd offered 1 chance in each game on a shot on target or something. And then we played, I think it was West Ham, and we let 6 or 7 in just in 1 game, or it could have been Southampton. It might have been Southampton, but it was something like that early in the season. We do give up chances, and a good team will punish us, and Spurs did. Whether you can argue there was some luck involved, but they did punish us.
Okay, so 73 minutes. After about 2 minutes of silence in the sort of stands where we're going, is it not, is it not, is it not? It's a goal, and then we're thinking, we still need another. We still need one more. There was that cross that went into Sane. It was a bit of a high cross, but he managed to head it forward. Gundogan, 6 yards out on the volley, 5 yards over the bar.
Got to get it
on that chance.
Got to get it on target, mate. Even though he's on the stretch, I don't think he expected. I honestly, looking at his position, he seemed back on his heels a bit. I don't think he expected Sane to do that. I thought he'd expect Sane to control it and try and do something. And it was a surprise for Sane to head it to him. But whatever you do, even if you do it actually would have been better if he'd miss-hit it. And
make the keeper make a save at least.
But if he'd miss-hit it, that could have probably dribbled in.
Yeah, agreed.
All you had. So we saw a game last season. Was it Sterling against Huddersfield or somebody else?
Yeah, the one where he miss-hit it.
Yeah, and it just dribbled in, and that's what we needed there. A pathetic shot off his studs that dribbles in. It's one of those, mate. You know, in that moment, it's easy for us to say. You just got to get it on side.
I'm just talking through the.
Yeah, you've been a striker yourself.
The major incidents that occurred.
You've been a striker yourself, and I'm sure many times you've blazed it over the bar.
Loads. I used to play the percentages. Yeah. If I hit 20 over the bar, I'll get 20. So one of those, which leads us to almost 93-20 moment. I think it was 92 minutes and 40 seconds. It was that close, and everyone in the City fans were just like, oh my God. And then I think we were so sort of, caught up in the moment. We didn't really see what happened with Eriksen. Well, I didn't, I must admit. But then I suddenly saw Serge run through. And I'm thinking, don't shoot from there, don't shoot from there. And he didn't. He tucked a beautiful little ball inside to Sterling. And I'm thinking, go on. And he actually, dropped his shoulder, went round like he has done so many times, and buried it in the corner. And oh my God, I mean, it was just
limbs everywhere.
Everything slowed down for me. It was just like I was jumping up and down, but everything seemed in slow motion, and it was like, I cannot believe I'm witnessing this again. After sort of the Aguero moment and things like that. Yeah. What was it? What was your? Were you going? It's offside.
Yeah. I mean, that was my initial reaction. As Aguero got the ball, I thought surely he's offside. And it's one of my gripes with Gabby Jesus. I said this before, is that they and Aguero as well. Sometimes they take their time to get back on side. And I used to tell a story that I used to play. I was playing football for a team down in Guildford, and I was in the second 11. I'm playing Saturday football. It was reasonable level, but I think it was one of the coach's sons who was about 18 years old, 18 or 19, something like that, and he was playing up front, and I was playing in midfield. But in those days, in my 20s, I had the stamina. I was a box-to-box midfielder or a box-to-box defender. I'd play defend, and I'd be attacking as well and coming back. And this fella, he must have been caught offside. This was in the old days of the rules. If you're offside, even if you're not interfering with play, that's it.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to him, I can't tell you the exact words, and I didn't care that he was a manager's son. But I said, if I miss out on a goal, because we were not a great team, I said, if I miss out on a goal because you're called offside, I'll kick you on the arse, I said. I used a couple of more choice words, because you can't be caught offside that much. And it was, from him, it was just being lazy. And that's when the rules were different. So it's the same thing, here with Gabby Jesus. Anybody who's taken their time to come back from an offside position, I'm disappointed with, because
I get that, and I do understand, but you've got to remember this was in the 93rd
I agree.
minute of a game that is just high emotion.
I agree.
Run his nuts off.
Okay, I'll give you another
He might
story.
not have been. He might not have been brilliant all night.
Yeah,
But a brilliant.
I'll give you another story. I used to do some martial arts when I was younger, and we used to
It's Jack
Jackanory. I'll just say the story. And we'd be doing jiu-jitsu. We'd been doing it for 2 hours, and you're knackered, you're sweaty, you absolutely physically drained. And the coach would say something like, for the last minute, work your hardest, because this last minute could be the most important. If you're in a fight, you're not going to give up. You keep going. And it's what you can, and he said something like, it's what you can give when you've already given everything is what matters. So yes, it might be in the 93rd minute, but unless you're lying down with cramp, you get back on side.
But my counter argument to that would be, Ericsson was going forward with the ball.
Yeah.
Is he expecting Ericsson to then give a ridiculous pass? I mean, in that minute, you'd think, just pump it into the.
I agree with you, mate.
To the stands.
I agree. I mean,
and he's probably thinking, that this is it.
Yeah.
They're going forward now. We've lost the ball, and then suddenly he's playing a backwards pass. It hits Bernardo, and he's reacted quickly.
Yeah.
I must admit, though, when I saw it back this morning, the referee's assistant was about 6-7 yards behind the play.
It would be.
So which he didn't give it. Obviously, it's gone to VAR. Would you say that is clear and obvious error for VAR to look at it again, considering we're talking?
Look, the goal, it was a goal, and there was a suspicion, okay, of offside. The ref could have asked his line, or
give it.
Line says, line might have been honest and said, I was 5 yards behind play, I don't know. And it goes to VAR. It was a correct decision. Cannot argue about that.
Yeah, I agree.
They used VAR properly. You can't argue about that. It was unfortunate and disheartening and everything else, and it was heartbreaking. But you can't say that VAR got it wrong and whatever.
Okay.
It broke our hearts
because of the time we've got about 10 minutes left. Yeah. So there's a couple of subjects I want to move on to. The first one is VAR.
Okay.
Now, we all want, we were one of the clubs that voted for VAR. Pep said he wants VAR. He thinks it's the right thing. And, this is no excuses whatsoever about it. It's just a generic discussion on it. Because let's face it, against Newport County, if VAR was in place.
Swansea,
sorry. Welsh. Swansea. Then
we'd be down.
We've been out. So we want VAR to make the right decisions. And I think you're completely correct that if you looked at VAR for Sergio's goal, and if they take into account the rules, even though it wasn't a pass by Bernardo, it hit Bernardo. And if that's what the rules are, then fair enough. It's clear and obvious. My concern is, like I said, I didn't see much last night because I didn't get on till the early hours. But this morning, I watched back the game. I watched back the replays that the VAR officials were given. They were given 3 angles, yet Sky had BT and Sky had 22 different angles. And the angles that I saw, and I watched, one of the guys on Twitter said, have you seen this on ESPN with Craig Burley, Andy? And I said, I haven't seen anything yet, mate. I've only just got up. So I had a look at it, and they were talking about it. And they were saying the similar thing, that it has hit his arm, and it is moved, whether it's flicked his hip or what, his arm, it's hit his arm. Now, the only 3 angles that the VAR officials were given,
the wrong angles.
You couldn't see that.
Yeah.
So why, when a TV station can show you numerous different angles that you can have a proper view, 360 view, whatever you want to do, why can they do it within seconds, but a VAR official is only given 3 angles and none of them are the ones where you clearly see
ones that matter?
His arm comes out. I'm not saying his hand comes out, but his arm comes across here, which it flicks his arm, goes onto his, I don't know whether it hits his hip or not, but it goes into the goal. Why can they not have all the angles? And if it takes 3-4 minutes, because they're all saying it's got to be about getting the right decision. And I agree with that. Totally agree with it. Why can't they wait another minute and get all the angles and say, here's angle 1, here's angle 2, here's angle 3. Look at angle 5, says, you look at that one, and it's entirely up to you.
Okay. It's because they want to keep everything in-house, everything under their own control. Now, okay, let's say, I was some guys know in my past, I was an accountant, I was a systems auditor. So I would look at systems, how they work, look for weaknesses, look for improvements, look for, stuff like that. How can I improve this system? Now, I don't know how many people are involved in the VAR decisions, whether there's 3, 5 or whatever. But
well, according to Gary Neville, they get 3 angles.
No, but
and yet Sky Sports can give you 22 angles.
I don't know how many officials are involved. Is it 1 or 3? I think.
Well, there's one made the decision. I think there's 3 involved in total. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
People correct us below.
Yeah.
Because I've not researched the officials who were watching VAR.
I can understand them not wanting too many cooks, because if you've got 10 people involved, that's
it was an Italian. It was an Italian. He was the VAR official last night.
What I'm saying is, if you've got 10 people supplying him with the information, you could argue that's too much. But if you've only got 3, I could argue that's not enough. If the TV companies have got 22 angles, then why haven't the VAR officials got 22 angles? You'll still make mistakes, because if you've got 22 angles, you can't look at them all in the space of 2 or 3 minutes. You can't let it take 5 minutes. Hear me out. You can't let it take 5 minutes to make a decision, because then it's not clear and obvious. The way I want VAR...
Well, last night was 3 minutes. Yeah, so is that clear and obvious? How long is clear and obvious?
Well, it would have been a goal then. The handball one would have been a goal, because you'd say, I've spent 30 seconds looking at this, can't see a clear and obvious error, let's move on. Depends how.
You were watching it. I didn't watch it on TV, so I am going to watch it again later on this afternoon after I finish some stuff, because I want to see the angles that showed. Everyone's posted on Twitter last night and this morning. They posted it fairly quickly, saying, "What about this angle?" That angle clearly shows that Craig Burley and everyone else on the ESPN were talking about last night. That is handball,
mate. I saw it on the first or second replay, something like that. I might have turned away and come back. I saw it very quickly. Okay, so when you asked me, is it? I can go and check on my phone. Is it handball? I had a quick look. I said it's not. Then I said Peter Walton said it's a handball, but I said it's not handball.
Peter Walton said it came off his knee.
Yeah. Oh, forget Peter. I said
this is what I mean about the whole thing, is that you've got an ex-professional referee saying, well, I'll stick, watching a replay, I'll stick with what I said initially when it came through, that it hit his knee.
Yeah.
Never even hit his knee.
Yeah. So Peter Walton said it was a goal. I said to you it was a handball pretty quickly. Okay. My eyesight's not the best. Some people say it hit his let's just say it hit his arm somewhere.
All the angles, the main angle which proves it did hit his elbow.
Yeah.
The VAR officials did not see that angle. So they came out pretty much immediately by the TV stations.
Exactly. So let's put aside the fact that some people say it's his elbow, which is not part of your arm. Some people say, let's say it's his arm, because that's the point where
his elbow is part of his arm.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's the point where discussion is, why didn't the VAR officials get enough views?
Yeah.
And I don't see why you can't have. Here's an argument. Why can't you have 5 people supporting the ref? If you've got 22 angles, okay, each of those 5 people sees 4 angles. They can see them 2 or 3 times.
Well, put it this way: the only angle, and I was behind the goal. Yeah. The only angle you want to see, because the ball came over Kompany's head, and you've got, I think, Laporte behind him. And Llorente is in between. The only angle you want to see, because his arm is closest to Edison.
Yeah.
That is the only angle you want to see. The ball coming over, and you can see then, was it an handball? You might want to then look at a slightly different angle and see, did it, the one that he saw, which was, it looked, and I must admit, it did look like it hit his hip. Not his knee, but it did look like it hit his hip. So you want to see those angles. And then the others they were showing were like, Why do I want to see that? Because it doesn't show me anything.
Yeah.
So you could say, I want to see this angle here, and I want to see that. So you might only need to see 3 angles quickly to determine it's either hit his arm or it hasn't.
This is what I said. If you've got 5 officials quickly looking at that, and it has to get better.
Shouldn't have to take 3 minutes.
No, this is why I say when I talk about the system, I look at the system, where are the weaknesses? The weaknesses are you're only looking at 3 angles. You need to look at more. The weaknesses are you've only got 3 officials looking at them, supplying the information to the guy who makes the decision. That's not enough, in my opinion. I would straight away go to 5 officials, okay, have enough pairs of eyes looking at the various different angles. It's such an important, contentious decision that costs you the match.
Yeah, well, it ultimately, it did.
You can argue about what you said. It needs to take. Sorry, I'll turn that off. In 3 minutes, you've got to make that decision. In 3 minutes.
And last night it did take. By the time the goal started, it was 3 minutes or so before we got a decision in the ground, even though we knew nothing about what was going on. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to be bitter here and sort of saying we should have gone through last night because of that, because ultimately we didn't go through for various reasons, mainly because of sloppy defending last night.
Exactly.
But no, I just don't get. The
other thing I'll say about VAR, mate. The other thing I'll say, it takes about 3 minutes to make a decision. Okay, there were 2 VAR calls. Okay, the offside was pretty quick, and the other one I don't know how long it took.
But it was only about a minute. Yeah, it wasn't long.
One thing that annoys me about VAR, they use VAR. They take 3 minutes to make a decision, and then give you 2 minutes of added on time. They've got to. I think they're worried, UEFA, FIFA, and everybody else, that if you have 3 VAR calls in the game and it's taken you 7 or 8 minutes to make the decisions, you've got to add on 10 or 12 minutes to a game, and I don't think they want that.
I agree, but you know, if that's what they want and that's how long it takes, and I'm sure it will get better, and you know, and you know, we're not. I'm not arguing about whether VAR is good and the time it takes and things like that. I'm really not getting into that as an argument. My point is I don't understand how somebody who is making the ultimate decision, which is really the Italian guy last night, who was the VAR sort of ref, who is selecting the clips to show the referee who stood there looking at them. I don't understand how, you know, they're only seeing 3 angles.
Yeah,
which
that's wrong.
If I saw all 3 angles as the ref last night, I would go goal.
Yeah.
I can't make out one way or the other. It looks like it's come off his hip. It's goal. But when the TV stations, while he's looking at that, showing clips that that's come off his elbow.
Yeah.
Why is he not seeing that?
That's why I'm saying you should have more officials looking at more angles more of the time. You can't just say 3 angles. That's good enough. You've got to have somebody who's played the game as well. I think it's important to have.
Yeah. You're bringing in the potential of bias then, I guess, with, you know, X teams and
no.
I don't know. I don't mind, because, you know, I'll be honest with you, a lot of ex-players talk garbage when it comes to refereeing decisions, and they have their own opinions and don't always know the rules.
No, but
that are there.
I think a good experienced ex-player could have a better understanding of what's happened, rather than
maybe. But you're not an ex-professional player. I'm not. What then? Was it handball? Did it hit his elbow? Right. Well, there you go. We don't need ex-professionals to tell us that is how. If you get the right camera angle and that is shown to the referee via the VAR, you can either say, okay, then it's interpretation. Okay, it did hit his elbow, which then deflected the ball onto his thigh, which went in. It has interfered. It's not a goal, or I don't think it interfered that much. Yeah. So I'm giving it as a goal. But
you've also got,
long as you're given the correct angles. That if we didn't see any of those angles, I looked at it and thought last night when I saw the VAR, let's say I saw the VAR last night, the 3 angles the ref said, I would have said, it's goal, move on.
Yeah.
But when you see that, television stations have these angles, why the VAR officials don't have access to that? I find it absolutely amazing.
The next problem you're going to get is someone might say, from that angle, let's say I'm one of the officials, I've got 3 angles. I'm just going to throw a spanner in the works or conspiracy theories. And I've seen it, but from every other angle, it looks like a good goal. But from that angle, it looks like a handball. I could just make a mistake. So I don't think
there's always jeopardy involved in human interaction. I'm not doubting that for a second. My point is, I just don't understand how TV angles within 30 seconds can show TV viewers an angle, yet the VAR officials take 2-3 minutes to make a decision
with all these 3.
And they're not seeing the same things that fans at home are seeing. And then, I'm not saying it shouldn't have been a goal last night or whatever. I'm just saying I don't understand how the referee has only shown 3 angles. Yes, and he hasn't shown the one that actually clearly shows it came off his arm. He might still have looked at it and went, yeah, but it's not really. It's come off his hip. The hip movement is the one that's caused it to be a goal, not the arm.
Yeah,
fine, absolutely fine.
I think VAR will improve. It's never going to be foolproof, as we saw last night. They could have been doing VAR for 10 years. If you only saw the same 3 angles, he'd still make that mistake. No. So you've got to hope that they'll
get better.
Yeah, got to get better.
Anyway, we're gonna move on to the last few minutes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move on from the VAR. I'm sure you'll sort of have your comments below this particular video. But Ray, you said you've got sort of no more than 5 minutes.
I won't take 5 minutes.
Okay. You want to talk a couple of things about social media?
Social media and so-called fans. Now, I noticed last night that Emery Laporte, he made a comment on social media, as many of the players did, and they were down. And they were, some of them, I wouldn't say apologetic, but they say, kind of trying to G themselves and those fans up as well. And, saying things like, we can't always get it right or win or, we go again and stuff like that. And some classy comments. But there's the politest word you can use is trolls. There's a lot more impolite words you can use, who would go on there and start slagging the players off. And it got to a point where I believe Emery Laporte had to make his, I think he took his Twitter and Instagram offline or make it private. For a player to do that, and look, the guy's made, let's be honest, he's made an error or 2 in the game. He's feeling hurt. He's a human just like any of us. If that had happened to us, we'd probably be feeling in the same place he was. We'd be down,
Absolutely.
We'd be devastated. You could see that in some of the players. What we don't need is someone to come along, and it's not just our fans, there's some opposition fans as well, and rub your nose in it.
I'll be honest with you. Rubbing your nose in it, it's all part and parcel. If you go on social media and you're a footballer, or you're me, or you're you, or you're somebody who's in the social media world and are on videos, and we put ourselves forward, you're gonna get abuse back. You're gonna get your nose rubbed in it when you go. Yeah. I had loads last night. I had it, doing that live vlog. I had tons of opposition fans giving me lots of grief, and that's absolutely fine. There is a line that gets crossed.
Exactly. And some so-called city, you expect it from some opposition fans, and I think the players will just brush that under the carpet. They expect it from opposition fans. Yeah. What you do not expect it from so-called City fans to come out there calling players out either on their timelines. So Emery Laporte makes a comment.
Can I just stop you there? Because obviously I was at the game and I was doing all that stuff after the game. So I didn't see a lot. I've seen a lot of stuff this morning when I woke up. But when you say having a go, what do you mean by having a go?
Well,
Because is it saying I thought you had a poor game last night? Is that wrong if you're on social
I don't mind
media?
that. I don't mind that. I think people basically blaming him for the defeat. People, the guy who came out and said, I think was it City Chief or one of the others that came out and gave David Silva a 0, give everybody else a 7, and give Edison a 3 and some Laporte a 4, but David Silva a 0.
But that's not directed at David. Well, I don't know whether it was David.
No, I think that was a general thing. But there's some that are directed where they're critical of the players. I think it's over the top. Some people have said, and I've not seen all of it, but there has to have been a certain level that it's got to such a degree that he's had to. Sorry, I'll take my phone off. That he's had to. Sorry, that's Emerick Laporte. Trying to get in touch, but he's had to take his Insta and Twitter off. There's got to be a reason. All of it.
Something must have happened. Or the people who look after his account.
Yeah, I'm a popular man today.
Who's that? Is that Gundogan now?
Yeah.
Is that David Silva?
David Silva saying, "Yeah, I'm going to shave my hair off." Look, I'll have to be brief. But there's a line. You're right. There's a line. Don't go over the line. Don't disrespect our players. Don't call Pep a bald fraud. Bald, yes, but but don't make it personal.
Yeah,
don't tell David Silva he should never play for our club again. Don't abuse our players.
Turn your phone off.
I've turned it off.
Put it on silent.
I turned it. It's on mute, but I'm such a popular guy. They won't leave me alone. But look, do not abuse our players. Do not. Don't make it personal. Don't go over the line. And some of these so-called City fans, who some of them have got huge accounts. You don't know what kind of City fans there are. They're hiding behind an avatar or whatever. You don't know even which country they're in. You don't know how old they are. You've got no idea whether it's a parody account. Sometimes no idea what they're doing it for. And it is going too far. I think criticising players, giving them crappy scores, it's taking the mick out of them. Personally, I take that a little bit personally. Maybe you say I'm too soft and sensitive, but I think some people are going too far. And you see the groundswell. It kind of happened more today and very late on yesterday. It's when the City fans who were at the game get home, or the City fans at the game check their Twitter, or they checked it this morning. They see this abuse, and they stick up for it. So the abusers, you think, how many of you who are so critical were at the game? Yeah. How many of you are real City fans? Real, you can say you don't have to be a City fan just to be going to the game. You could be somewhere in West Africa or in Mumbai or wherever, in Charlotte in the US. You can be anywhere. You can still be a City fan. But this is my opinion. What kind of City fan are you if you're going to call Pep a ball fraud, if you're going to abuse David Silva and tell him not to play again for your club, or to tell Laporte, you cost us the game, you should, don't play for us again. And I'm sure people say a lot worse. I saw stuff the day before. I saw stuff the day before Ashley Young. It was all racist abuse.
I put it out last night and I said, tonight just showed the real fans, City fans, compared to the kids that come out, faced with a little bit of disappointment. Suddenly the kids are out in droves, and I interview fans. I spoke to fans last night at the game. You look at the interview I did with James and everything, laughing, joking. We've been there. We've been through far worse than what we went through last night. Last night was a quarter-final of the Champions League. Jesus, we've been through relegation after relegation. For God's sake. But that's the problem we have with social media, is that we have these accounts that we don't know who they are. Yeah. It's different for us because we put our faces on the channel. People know who we are. Faces. Yeah. Oh well, they know who we are, so they can identify us. But these people hide behind these monikers and these sort of like avatars, and nobody who knows who they are and
where they're from or who they are.
It's huge, following, and then at the slightest bit of disappointment, they're coming out slagging off David Silva. saying, like you saying, I didn't see these tweets, but Laporte should never play a game for City. I mean, that shows you these are children. These are not people. These are not match. These are definitely not match-going fans and haven't been following City for years. Yeah. And that doesn't mean say you have to follow City for decades to have an opinion. Not at all. But I'm saying when they come out with this absolute diatribe on just because we lost just because we didn't go through last night, that shows you the proper fan versus somebody who is following City for an alternative or an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
And that is clickbait, money, whatever it is that they're in. They're not a real proper fan. They're not. They're just somebody who is following. So, yeah, if anyone's been... I've not seen the tweets, like I said, I've not had time, but I will have a look through what's been said and everything else. And if people have been, making disgusting remarks against City players, then I'll block them. I'll go through and I'll promote that as well. So listen, Ray, I'm gonna go because I know you've got to go. Listen, we'll be back tomorrow. We've got the game on Saturday as well. So
gotta win.
What's that?
Gotta win on Saturday.
Gotta win. It's a massive game. I am contacting a few of the Spurs fan channels. I've wished them all the best and said good luck. It was a great game. Let's say I've not heard back from them yet, so they're probably still drunk or asleep or somewhere. But anyway, listen, Ray, thanks for coming on, mate, and we'll catch up again probably on Saturday or something like that. But we'll do some more stuff. But anyway, guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Don't forget, subscribe, click notification, give this video a thumbs up, and get your comments below. What were your thoughts on last night's game? Take care, Ray.
Cheers, guys.
See you, buddy.